We've got a very special episode of Boy Green Daily talking about a cookbook that came out. And of course, we'll have a professional chef to talk all about it and some New York Jets game day recipes. That sounds good to me. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, and we're built for this shit.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Edgerton Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Every.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast, baby. It's great to be back here on the program. Visited Buffalo Bills training camp yesterday. You guys can check out Boy Green Nightly to recap my Buffalo Bills trip and the one-on-one interview with Buffalo Bills wide receiver and former Jets wide receiver Elijah Moore. But let's get right into it. We have a special guest joining us right off the top rope, baby, and he's here to talk about this. Look at this beautiful book right here, Kickoff Kitchen. 64 game day recipes inspired by every professional football team, including your New York Jets. Let's bring him in. He's a professional chef, baby, and a Super Bowl champion chef. Tim Lopez. Chef Tim Lopez is here on the show. What's up, Chef?
Good morning, Paul. What's going on?
Hey, now, I'm going to be honest. When I say, Super Bowl chef, this is what I'm talking. This is where I'd prefer it, that we're in front of a Jets with the Super Bowl trophy and, a little bit of a hunt action. But unfortunately, that has been a hot second since we've seen any of that. As a matter of fact, it's not for the Jets that you're representing. You're a Philadelphia Eagles guy, Chef Tim Lopez.
That's correct. I had the pleasure of working for the Philadelphia Eagles in their cafeteria there at the NovaCare complex for 14 years.
Wow.
I was there up until 2020.
Okay, and of course the championship you would be referencing is the Eagles' first Super Bowl ever, which I imagine is even more special. And the fact that you have multiple now must be pretty cool. So 2017, I will say this. Obviously, I'd prefer that we're talking about Jets Super Bowls, but the next best closest thing, if the Jets don't win the Super Bowl, is the Patriots losing in the Super Bowl. So for that, Chef, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and so does everyone watching the show.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, dream come true, obviously, for the Philadelphia fan base, and just to be a small cog in the machine there to help it happen was one of the greatest things of my life. To be able to be part of that organization, help feed those guys and fuel them to take down Tom Brady and the Patriots. It was an absolute pleasure.
All right, a couple of things here in your career. We're also, obviously, we're going to spend a lot of our time with the book. As a chef for the Eagles, you walked away with a Super Bowl ring? Yes?
Yeah, actually, all of us did. Everybody in the kitchen staff, everybody on staff there. Mr. Laurie is very, very generous. It wasn't like the high end versions of the Super Bowl ring that the players got, but it wasn't an exact replica, and just a gorgeous piece of jewelry. I can't wear it in the everyday. It's not really conducive.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you about that. Okay.
But I do wear it out at events. I've got a tailgate launch for the book on August 16th in the lots over at Lincoln Financial. I believe we're taking on the Browns for preseason next week, and I'll have my ring, and I'll be cooking some stuff from the book. So it does come out when I get a chance to show it off. And now it's old school, right? We got that new Super Bowl win. I don't have one of those new ones with the
wings on it, right?
Wings on them, yeah. But I got the OG ring, and I'm happy with that. It's really one of the coolest things I've ever been given in my life to represent one of the best times of my life working in the NFL. So
I would imagine that. So let me set the scene here, okay? You're at the airport. You happen to be wearing the Super Bowl ring. Someone walks by and goes, "Whoa, nice ring, Tim." Your response is what? What do you then say about the ring that's on your finger?
I'd like to get into a conversation with them about why, this guy has one of them.
Yeah.
You didn't think you'd encounter somebody that looks like me wearing one of those. So it would be a little bit of talk about my career. But also that ring was copied, I think, very, very much after that first Super Bowl. win. So I was always curious as to how you could authenticate player rings. I think you could authenticate a lot easier, but
right.
You know, a ring
Obviously,
like mine, I mean, there were a lot of fans sporting those as well. So, but you know, mine's a special thing. It was designed by Jeffrey Lurie and the staff there, and it's a gorgeous piece of jewelry, and it weighs quite a bit. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to, you know, for any team to be near one or to hold one or try one on, but
I have not.
They are not conducive if you're working with your hands. It is a heavy piece of jewelry. You're not going to get too much work done with your hands with one on. So I keep mine in its display case that it came in. It's gorgeous. It opens up. It lights up. And that, of course, is in also a lockbox to protect it because it is a nice, expensive piece of jewelry. So
I will also say random, and then we'll get into the cookbook. So I was a broadcaster for a semi-professional team here in Syracuse, and they went to the championship game out in Vegas. They flew me out, very nice, and they end up winning the game. So then I get this sweet-ass championship ring.
Oh,
and when it's terrific. This is a beautiful piece of merch. They got my name on the side of it. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. And when I wear this out and about, not very often because it is massive and it is not conducive in the same way that I'm sure a Super Bowl ring is. And anytime someone saw me with it, and they said, "Whoa, championship ring!" Huh? I'm like, yeah, our football team won the championship. They're like, "Oh," and they assume I was a football player, and I'm like, I was at one point in my life, but not on that championship team. But no one gets that follow-up question, so it works out beautiful. Anywho, Chef, let's get into the brass tacks here with this beautiful cookbook, again, that I have in front of me. We'll also show a version of the image here of the front cover there on the screen, Kickoff Kitchen. And as you can see on the cover, everybody that's watching the show, make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. 64 game day recipes inspired by every professional football team. This is math I'm more than capable of doing here, Tim. 2 recipes per NFL team. So every NFL team is represented here. Let's start off here. Obviously, one of your tasks here was picking 2 recipes for each team. And Chef, I'm sure you already know this, so you don't need me telling you this. You know, food is a very special thing for people. So in this book, for whatever food you chose for each city to represent, we'll get into the Jets one specifically here in a moment, but, you know, people are very proud of that. So it was important, I'm sure, to all 32 of these representative cities that whatever you picked was representative of it. And, you know, I imagine that was a pride point here. So how difficult was it to pick 2 for every one and that selection process of picking the right 2 for each city?
It was incredibly difficult. I will say this. I had years to prepare for this book. I apparently was writing it in my head during my time with the Eagles before it was even a concept from the publishing company that contacted me. I want to take you on a little time travel trip back to the year 2015. Right. I started working with the Birds around 2009, 2010. In 2015, I worked with a chef over at the Eagles, and we developed this idea of something called Devour the Competition, where we took a look and said, what's another way we could kind of get the food culture of not only, you know, Philadelphia and our local eats involved in what we do with specialty menus in the cafeteria there at the NovaCare complex. What's another way we could shine the light on some of the food culture of the rest of the NFL? And the idea was, if you can find out the way these other fan bases or these other teams eat, what are the things that are their staples? What are their go-to recipes? What are their traditional foods in the different parts of our nation? You can kind of get inside their head, because a lot of times you hear you are what you eat. Well, sometimes maybe when you eat something, you can kind of think like that other team. So that's how that idea Devour the Competition was born. And we did that as a weekly feature at the Eagles. It was every Thursday. Once a week, we would feature a recipe or a dish from one of these different fan bases. So much so that we were change it a lot, and then we came up with like some quintessential ones. But it was never like written down on paper. It was never like defined. You know, I went to internet searches in the beginning, to even like cold calling like some of the best restaurants in some of these cities and towns where the fan bases are strong. Throughout the NFL, to just developing my own twist on it. And then years later, I get a call from a publishing company, and I'm no longer with the Birds. I left in 2020, but they called me up about a year and a half ago, and they were like, would you be interested in trying to do this regional cuisine of the NFL, devour the competition style book? So that's how it kind of came about. So, like I said, it was building in my brain for years since 2015, and then 10 years later, it bore fruit, and it took me about 6 to 9 months to really lock in on these quintessential recipes that define certain areas where these teams are located. So I looked at where were the stadiums, because I looked at, a lot of the food culture of your football team is built around what in those towns where the stadiums are. What are guys eating at the tailgate? This book is so different than any other tailgate or game day cookbook because it's not focused on nachos or wings or pizza or, in Philly's case, cheesesteaks. It's focused on give me the quintessential, give me the essential eats that people would eat in those towns, that they would trot out, not just at a tailgate, but, at a house where everybody's watching the game at home, or something you would have traditionally even during the holidays. Tend to get a little bit more legwork in the book as well. So it's really a look at the heritage and tradition of the food culture of these towns. So, and it was hard for me to pick one for the Jets because, as you know, the Jets and the Giants share the same stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So if you want to talk about the Jets, we can get into those recipes and how I made that decision.
Yeah, let's do that. First off, on a more general sense here, obviously you've got a full cookbook in front of us here. It has 64 game day recipes, 2 recipes per team, and you are a professional chef, and we championed all of your wonderful accolades, which are terrific. But I'm curious, and there's instructions literally, and we'll show some of them, but there's instructions for each of these items on how to make it. Can every average day Joe that is watching the show right now follow your instructions regardless of their culinary skills and be able to make any item from this cookbook?
I think
chef?
so. I mean, in writing the recipes, I kind of had to take a look and say, I'm not writing these for chefs. I'm writing these for laymen, right? I'm writing these for people that they cook for their families, right? They know their way around a kitchen. They know how to basic skills, use a knife, boil water, turn on the oven, do some roasting, right? Stuff like that. And I broke the actual steps in the recipes down, and I try to be very, very specific. I had a lot of help with the publishing company from that because I had never written a cookbook before. It's my first cookbook. I've written recipes before, but I've never to this degree. And they came back, and when you do the edits on a cookbook, they come back and they go, all right, here's the deal. I'll just give you a quick one. Saute the onions till they're translucent. Okay, well, they wanted to know exactly for how long does that take, and exactly what temperature do you need to get that effect in the pan. And that could be for any recipe, any general recipe where you have to start, in that way. And it really made me think because as a chef, you just throw the onions in the pan. You got it on medium high heat. You got your fat in the pan.
Right, it's innate.
You don't even think about it because you just make it. You know, it's like certain recipes for chefs, they're kind of stored in your subconscious. And when you make a basic sauce or you start to create a basic part of the dish, you just do it. You don't think about it. So as a first-time cookbook author, I had to break that down and think to myself, if somebody had never done this before, how can I explain it in the, not even just the simplest way, but in the way that it's going to be accessible to anybody at any level? And I think I've done that. There's some specialty equipment in there, like if you don't have a smoker, for a couple of recipes that would involve trying to get some smoke into certain types of foods, you could do it in the oven. And I have given, say, okay, you don't have a barbecue grill, you don't have a smoker, you could still do it in the oven. And here's the oven instructions, So I made it accessible to pretty much anybody at any level.
And I love that. But I love that you started as Michael Jordan. You just made the jump shot and someone's watching. How the hell did you do that? I don't know. I just made the jump shot, man. But now you've broken it down, Michael Jordan. And now let's get into it. So we're going to throw a couple of these out here. These are the images that are in the cookbook. And we'll start off with the first one for the New York Jets. Pork roll, egg, and cheese sandwiches. Come on. That is synonymous with all things New York Jets. Hell, apparently this combo led us to recruiting a certain star free agent wide receiver over the last 2 years. Shout out to NYJ Matt, wherever he may be. So let's start here on selection number 1 for the New York Jets here, Chef.
Well, in that selection, each team gets an appetizer and an entree.
Okay.
All right. So if nobody would ever consider pork roll, egg, and cheese an appetizer, but if you cut that sandwich 4 ways and put some toothpicks in it, right, or serve it as little mini
Sure.
bites, you could definitely get away with it. And
Okay.
that sandwich holds a special place in my heart because I grew up in the New York, New Jersey
Okay. I didn't
metro
know that.
area.
Nice. All
And
right.
so I grew up on that sandwich. When I was going to tailgates when I was a little kid, that's what we were eating.
Mhm.
So, and it's got the roots in North Jersey, but it's got a
Mhm.
lot of ties to New York. It's got ties to the Jets, and you got that hot debate: is it pork roll or is it Taylor ham?
Where do you settle?
That is one of my favorite things. I love
Okay.
debate when it comes to food. Right,
Mhm.
I love the cheesesteak debate in Philly. Who's got the best one? I love the buffalo wings debate in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Right,
Uh-huh.
and I love the pork roll debate in New York and New Jersey.
Okay.
And then is it Taylor ham? To me, it's going to be pork roll. I
Okay.
always think it's pork roll. What's your take on that, Paul?
Okay. I will answer that question. Also, now that you've set us up for all of those, we need to go through each one. So in Philly, who has the best cheesesteak?
Oh, so you know what? That's going to be a tough one. I'm not going to say best, but I'm going to say my favorite places.
Okay.
I like Skinny Joey's.
Okay. That was a popular comment here in the chat. That one came up. So okay.
Yeah, I really do. I like Jim's on South Street.
Okay.
That place is near and dear to my heart. And I like D'Alessandro's.
Okay. Good choices.
But I'm always finding new places. I'm friends with this guy that does something called Cheesesteak Adventure. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
No, I've
cat.
not heard of that. Okay.
Yeah, he has eaten over, like, I think at this point 2,000 different cheesesteaks all around the Philadelphia area.
Oh,
he's always trying to find the best cheesesteak.
right.
And I mean, we even went to a high-end steakhouse.
Sure.
We went to Barclay Prime and tried $100 cheesesteak with
oh my God,
foie gras on it.
Wow.
And gold flakes in the bun.
Okay.
But for me, I don't know. For me, I've eaten at many different spots. A lot of people in Philly would say, well, what about Pat's or Gino's? But anybody from Philly knows, look, not for nothing. Those guys have their time and their place, but most of the time in the places when people come from out of town and they say,
so a touristy thing.
It is kind of a touristy thing. So yeah, so Skinny Joey's, Jim's on South Street, and D'Alessandro's. Those would be my top 3 for cheesesteak.
Okay, and what about, you mentioned Bills and wings? I just came from Buffalo Bills camp yesterday. They are very prideful of their wings. What's the Bills wing place?
I still got to go with Anchor Bar, man.
Okay,
I got to go old school with that.
Right.
I've had them there many times.
Okay,
and look, there's the hot debate on whether or not they actually invented them. I think you hear a lot about when the legend becomes more popular than what the fact might be, you print the legend.
Mm-hmm.
I like eating at these legendary places. A lot of the fire that got in me about doing the research on all these recipes and these regional things was really getting into the history of where was this first made, who's responsible for it. It's something that excites me because when you get debates about who has the best or who was the first to create it, you really get stories and you get involved in people's lives. You get involved in the different towns and cities and the histories behind these foods. Just like that pork roll and Taylor ham debate. So yeah, I like Anchor Bar. I really do.
Okay.
Hats off to them for starting it up and being awesome.
Yeah, I'll tell you, having one of those debates in the book, I think is just good because that's going to create great conversation as people are talking about it. Personally, to go back to answer your question, I won't dodge that bullet. I'm a military brat, so I only stayed in one place for not a long period of time throughout my entire life on the East Coast. So I have not been in the trenches with all these Jersey folk that are now debating in the comment section, fist fighting over Taylor ham and pork rolls right now. That's currently happening. So thank you for starting that fight, Chef.
You're most welcome.
We can throw the money wherever we will there, but I want eventually stake in this game. I'm inevitably going to be moving closer to the Jets here on out, and then I'm looking forward to diving in and rolling up my sleeves and getting involved there. Again, we got professional chef Tim Lopez here on the show. Again, look at this beautiful book. Wonderful. It's the first one. I imagine won't be the last one. Kickoff Kitchen, 64 game day recipes inspired by every pro football team. All 32 NFL teams are represented. And as Chef said, there's an appetizer and an entree in here. Let's go to page number 2 here for the New York Jets. And look at that. Italian sausage and pepper sandwiches. What led you to this? Because again, there could have been a lot of different directions to go here.
It was a lot of different directions because everybody was screaming at me. The people I was talking to up home,
Yeah.
I live in South Jersey, about
right.
20 minutes outside of Philly.
Mhm.
But everybody up home was like, "Oh, well, you need to put New York style pizza." But the
Mm.
problem with that is the same problem you have with wings and cheesesteaks. Who has the best one? What is the undeniable only one recipe for making New York style pizza? Well, we
Right.
all know there isn't one. And
Mhm.
so rather than get hate mail and rather than get screamed at and rather than get told I don't know how to make pizza, I stayed away
Right.
from pizza. I
Smart.
did
Okay.
some like mini deep dish pizza bites for Chicago,
Yeah.
but when it came to New York, I stayed away from the pizza and I leaned into sausage and peppers, man. I mean,
Mm.
I grew up, like I said, in the metro area,
Sure.
and this was a favorite of just my family's. During the summer, we
Mhm.
would make it, to watching football games when I was a kid in the wintertime. And something about sausage and peppers just evokes that New York Italian classic tradition. And it's a sandwich, which is always good when you can
Yeah.
have a hearty sandwich like this.
Oh,
It's
yes.
just fantastic. I will say, I'm wondering, I can't see the chat, but I'm wondering what
Yeah.
people think about putting the cheese on the sandwich. I
Okay.
debated whether or not I should.
Okay.
Some people do, a lot of people don't. A lot of people just want peppers, and obviously some onions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I love a traditional sausage and peppers. It's
Okay,
great.
guys, let us know in the comments section what you think of the addition of cheese. Sounds like Chef was a little back and forth on whether to include it. So make him feel terrible about his decision or great about his decision
There you go.
right now in the comments section. We'd really appreciate that. So feel free to continue to let that reign. And this is something I wanted to get to earlier, but might as well get to it now. So you mentioned your origin story. For Lillian Big D says no cheese on it. What are we doing here? And I said, well, there you go. So okay, we're getting people on both sides. Excellent. That means you made the right choice when you have people on both sides. I would say you talked about your origin story off the top rope here about being a professional chef and being with the Philadelphia Eagles for 14 years, including that Super Bowl year. How does food play a role in getting the players' game day ready? Because that's not something that people, at least that I would think surface level, talk about, but obviously that's an integral role. That was your job. How does that play a role in your mind?
I mean, it came down to sports science. When I first got the job, and for anybody that doesn't know, like, that's not a job you can just walk up and say, I want to work here. Like, you
Yeah.
have to audition for that. You
Oh,
have
really?
to.
Oh, interesting.
It
Take
is.
us real quick behind that. I
Yeah,
never heard. I didn't know. Okay.
I mean, they were looking for a first cook, a grill cook. I came in and I had to do a cooking test for it, and it was very different when I took it back in 2008 than what it has become. Sports science has become a huge thing
Okay.
in the game, in the league itself, and they really take a look at nutrition, body mass index, all these different factors that affect the player's ability
Okay.
to have their best game day every week. They take a look at what they're eating and what they're beverages they're consuming while they're in training mode. Before the season starts, they're taking a look at what they're consuming during preseason, and then it's week to week. I mean, they run tests on the guys and design menus for if they have to gain weight, maintain weight, or lose weight. That's always going to be a factor. So when we started, it wasn't that, or at least when I started with the team, it wasn't about the sports science, and then it kind of shifted. And I say for the better, and I say across the league for the better. I think any team should be concerned about the health of their players on and off the field. You got to keep these guys lean and mean over, when football season's over. That's pretty much up to them to stay lean and mean, and then they come back for preseason workouts and training camp and everything. But one of my chefs I used to work with, Chef Matt Esham, would always say, you got to look at it. It's like a high performance car, right? You look at the supercars on like Top Gear or the Grand Tour, and they talk about how the fuel injection and the oil, and we are trying to put high test fuel in these guys to literally make them into powerhouses every Sunday. So how do we do that? And it's designed for each player because they're able to take a look at their specific needs. And so I got really into the sports nutrition and the science. There are a couple guys that worked with the birds that really taught me a lot about, how the nutrition affects the muscles. And basically, there's a lot of stuff you're looking at as to when you're going to, carb load versus when you would be more heavy on the protein. A lot of the guys would do most of their carb loading on Thursdays. And then you would build up those carbs, and then that would be stored energy that was ready to unleash on Sunday.
Wow.
And I mean, it came down to just analyzing, what you put in the body and how it reacts to, the athletic demands. So.
All right, let's go back to this. I'm now fascinated by it. I was going to ask you at the beginning, like, how the hell do you get a job with the Eagles being a chef? And then you talk about that you have to sort of apply for it. America's Got Chef, and try to figure it out of how you're getting that gig. So what was the cooking test? You said you had to do a cooking test.
I came in and they wanted to see, they want to see what chops you have. So they're looking at your basic skills. I made a soup, a sandwich, and an entree. And I just basically, they said, go in the walk-in. We're going to tell you, we've got leftovers in there. We want you to take some of the leftovers and turn it into something. But we want you to make the entree from scratch. But make us a soup, make us a sandwich with some of the leftovers. So I went in. They gave me about 2.5 hours to do that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then the job that I got as first cook, grill cook out front, it's open kitchen. So team just walks up, players walk right up, tell you what they want to eat. We're cooking for coaches, support staff, all the players, anybody over at the stadium that wanted to come over and eat could eat. Grounds crew, anybody visiting, anybody involved with the organization could eat in that cafeteria. And it's the best equipment I've ever worked with. Mr. Laurie and the organization there really put a lot of money into making sure that we had the very best equipment, the best quality food to really fuel up the Eagles for game day and keep them going throughout the entire season. I miss it because now I'm a teacher in Philadelphia. I'm a culinary arts teacher. I went from an unlimited budget to a very small budget. And I have good equipment that I teach my kids with, but nothing like what we were working with at the Birds. I mean, it was top of the line stuff. And
I could imagine.
It was amazing to be able to cook. And I'm going to give a shout out to one of my favorite pieces of equipment. A lot of chefs don't get to talk equipment a lot, but we had like a 7-foot flat top.
Oh my God.
And you could make quesadillas on one end and do pancakes and waffles on the other end and sear steaks and salmon in the middle and not miss a beat.
Wow.
It was insane. So I love that thing.
So for when you were working with the Eagles and you said players can just come up and tell you exactly what you want. So it's not like a menu. It's not like, hey, players, here's what's happening. Take it or leave it. It was custom to each person coming up. They could order basically whatever they wanted.
They could order whatever they wanted, but we did have set menus, right? We had it was a cycle menu, kind of like if you think about like a school cafeteria, but this is a heck of a lot more involved and more high end. But there'd be a cycle menu, which usually rotated between 6 or 8 weeks, depending on what was going on, and it was definitely informed by decisions with sports science and nutrition. But if you wanted, like for instance, Brandon Graham would come in. If he wanted a, 1.5-inch ribeye steak with his breakfast, we would throw it on and sear it off and make it for him. At the time I was there, they were doing in-house cured bacon. They were making their own smoked salmon. We had really high-end cuts of meat that we were hand-cutting steaks and chops and stuff like that. Tons of salmon. Oh, my God. I think at one point we were interviewed in the lead-up to the Super Bowl game against the Patriots. We had gone through, I think, almost 4 tons of salmon in about 3 months.
Good night.
Because it is that magical super fish that has just the right amount of omega-3s. It's got that really healthy fat. It's really good lean protein. And I probably cooked more steak and salmon than anything else when I worked there. Of course, breakfast was always huge. You'd have to feed 300 people in like an hour and a half. So it was all hands on deck for breakfast. I had a lot of help for breakfast and anything you could imagine for breakfast, but we did a lot of, grain bowls and acai bowls. There was a smoothie station. I mean, anything you could think of that was healthy was there and available, but the players could get anything they wanted. They challenged us to be as nutritionally responsible with their diets as we could, but the players themselves were also responsible. You know, they really understood a lot about their nutrition, which makes my job as a chef easier. So a guy's not just walking up asking me for, you know, disco fries and pizza and wings every day. So.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this. Do you remember is there a player that just ordered something so bizarre or so unique that you just couldn't forget it, and now you've associated that player with that order? Do you remember any player's order specifically?
Oh, man, let me think here.
Okay. All right. Good. Marinate.
Yeah, there was a guy long time ago. I don't know if anybody remembers this guy. It was Winston Justice.
Yes, of course. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Winston Justice, he, at the time when I was serving him, ate more than anybody else on that team. And at one point he asked me if I wouldn't mind, because he had to run to a meeting and then get to practice. He didn't have time to sit down and eat the meal with his hands. Could I make a giant pancake and put his omelet in the center of it? And so I said, yeah. I said, I could do that. I've never done that. And then that led to a bunch of copycatting amongst the other guys.
Oh, I see.
These guys, they have such a camaraderie that if one of them would invent a sandwich on the spot, somebody else would want to try it, and then they would nickname it after each other. There was a player called Earl Wolf who invented a sandwich called the Wolf Pack, and they were all eating it. And it was bacon and ham and a cheeseburger on grilled cheese with tomatoes and pickles and spicy mustard.
Wow. Okay.
And they would I just give me the Wolf Pack. I want the Wolf Pack. You know, they would nickname different foods. Brandon Graham liked waffle batter made into pancakes. We used to call them Crispy Boys. Okay, they'd come up and ask me for the Crispy Boys. So the culture of just being able to cook for these guys, I really got to know them really well on a personal basis and know their tastes and their attitudes toward food. And, you know, the way that they would just trade these different like made up recipes, it made it a lot of fun to cook for them. But I had a knack where I just had this like eidetic memory for remembering, like I could tell you what Kelsey's breakfast was on any given day. Howie Roseman had a specific type of way he wanted his salmon made, and I could share that. I won't, but I still remember this stuff. I remember it because it was a matter of pride to me that, you know, I was the first person these guys saw every morning.
Right.
So it made sense to me to remember their orders, and it made me a quicker chef, and they were creatures of habit. They would eat a lot of the same stuff every time. But every time they would, design a sandwich and everybody wanted it, we'd have to write it down and put it on a clipboard hanging on the wall next to the station. So that way, if I was off or one of the other chefs was off, somebody's like, well, I don't know what a wolf pack is. I'm like, dude, it's on the clipboard. Go over there and knock one out, you know? So.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get back to the cookbook here in a second. This is just random. I'm not sure when this started. So the NFLPA report cards, was that a thing while you were still a chef of the Philadelphia Eagles?
I believe so.
Okay.
And this is report cards on what, player health or?
Excuse me. It was sort of a little bit of everything. So the players were supposed to give, in theory, their unfiltered opinions in their own building. So like,
okay. Now I know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Right. So my question was, when you guys got these back, because for instance, the Jets, because the Jet show, the Jets got brutalized on their NFLPA report card for the cafeteria. And I could imagine if I was a chef in that cafeteria, you could take that one of two ways. One, constructively, like, all right, they don't think my game stepped up enough, or whatever the way is. There's a lot of comments they can make specifically about whatever they thought was an issue or could be improved or anything. And then you could look to improve it. But I could also imagine this is your art, chef. That's what it is on a plate. So you could probably take that pretty personally if you get a lot of these criticisms about your dishes. So I was just curious how people, in the culinary arts of the Philadelphia Eagles, whether it was good or bad, how did you guys take the comments that you received from the players?
I would say initially you get a little irritated because it is a fast-paced, hectic job.
Right.
And you're like, man, I'm doing everything I can, and it's just not good enough. But then there comes a point where I think as a kitchen staff, if you've got a good executive chef, and we always did, and I want to give a shout out to the two guys that run the team right now, back there. We have a food service director, Eric Montijo. He's fantastic, really motivated and changed a lot of what was going on back there. And the executive chef of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chef James Searles. Those two guys, when you get a report card like that, anytime we saw anything that we could do better on, we didn't take it as an affront. We took it as, all right, let's step it up. Let's step it up. You know, I mean, the Eagles during that first push for the Super Bowl, we were plagued by a lot of issues, right? Carson Wentz blew out his ACL.
Right.
Nick Foles took over. Then there was an issue when we didn't even have a kicker for that one game, and Jordan Hicks had to kick that field goal, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was Jordan Hicks. I'm forgetting who it was.
Yeah.
But it was that next man up mentality, and that translated into the kitchen. They would come down and talk to us, not like, you guys screwed up, you need to fix it. They would say, all right, how can we get better every day? How can we get better every week? How can we get better every game? It's not just going to be what's going on the field. You guys are fueling these guys up. What can you personally do as an employee of the Philadelphia Eagles to make sure we get a victory this week and next week and next season? So it became about ownership. And that's how they handle it there. And I haven't been there for 5 years, but looking at their results, I can tell everybody's locked in there in that kitchen staff. So when you get a report from NFL, Players Association, and you say, that, maybe the food isn't up to snuff or whatever, we're going to take that personally, or at least we did when I was there, and I'm sure they still do. And we're not going to be angry about it. They're going to get better at it. And they have. I think when I was there through their first Super Bowl, and even before I left, everybody that came in, whether it was, game callers would come in a couple days before to do pre-interviews with players. We got told, you guys got one of the best cafeterias in the league. And that is something you want to hear as a chef, that you are at the top of your game for what you're doing. And, the skill and the talent in that kitchen, the people that work there, it's incredible, everything they put together every week. And the fact that there is such support from the organization for the equipment that's being used and the quality of the food that they buy for those guys to cook. I mean, you see the results. You see the results. And I was just honored to be a part of that team and work with those people and fuel those guys up. So,
all right, I'll let you do name pronunciation here. I found that player. Jake Elliott got hurt during an Eagles-Cowboys primetime game. I'm going to throw the name up on the screen. I'll let you do this.
Yes.
One here.
Oh, how could I forget KGH? That is Camus Grugier-Hill.
There you go.
Shout out to him. I'm so sorry I misnamed that, but I mean, you never saw that coming. And that next man up mentality, you could have a bad game and lose the game.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to go, okay, we're going to focus on the next one. How can we not make the same mistakes the next time? If we screwed up in the kitchen, how are we not going to make those same mistakes the next day? And it could be something as simple as, you ran out of a certain condiment that the players really like a hot sauce or a condiment or whatever. You got to make sure you have double order next time, right? Yeah. I mean, they've got this wonderful person. Shout out to Kimberly McDevitt, and shout out to Lakeisha Jones over there. They're running the front end over there, and Kimberly McDevitt is the barista. So she's making power-packed drinks and beverages. It's not just about caffeine. It's about a healthy way for their body to absorb that caffeine over there. She's making these amazing beverages every day, and Keisha's running the front of the house and making sure everything's ready for these guys. You can't stumble or fall when you're trying to reach for that trophy. So everybody's got to be on point. And all the chefs back in the kitchen. I never get a chance to shout them out. It's been a while, but I want to shout out Chef Nadira, Chef Pee-wee, Chef Matt, Chef Charles.
That's awesome.
And the other chefs, they've been there for years. And there's a reason they're there for years. And the reason that food is so good and they're doing so well is the talent and the quality of those people. So,
all right, Chef, we'll wrap up with a couple more questions here. First off, this may be an impossible one for you, but I guess that's my job to ask you these impossible questions. What is the dish you're most proud of in this book, Kickoff Kitchen?
That is a tough one because I did the research, took a long time.
Yeah.
The hot debate in Philly was I going to put a cheesesteak in the book? And I didn't. I put the Philly roast pork sandwich. I leaned into the Italian roots of Philadelphia from the Italian market. And it's my absolute favorite sandwich, even over sausage and peppers. I have come to love that and cherish it. I have tried perfecting that roasted pork here at my house. I make it with my kids at the job where I teach them at Mastbaum High School in Kensington. I don't want to say that's the recipe I'm proudest of, but it is one of my favorite recipes in the book. I'm doing a show tonight, a little podcast with a local podcast group, and obviously, Birds are playing tonight against the Browns, so I made some Skyline chili from the book from Cincinnati, and we're gonna eat that tonight while we discuss the book and talk about the upcoming season. And that devour the competition spirit, I would say I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of looking into these fandoms and these traditional recipes and really getting inside the heads of, the different people that make up the fan bases across the NFL. And I think something I said in the book, it says, no matter what fan base you root for,
yes,
every single one of those recipes is a champion because it's coming from the towns and cities and the people and the traditions and the families that built those fan bases. So it doesn't matter who your favorite team is. We're all winners because we get to eat so good on game day.
Amen to that. That is absolutely for sure. Chef, I want to thank you so much for your time. Before we get you out of here, I want to give you the opportunity. Is there anything we didn't get to about this book that you want people to do? We got a couple hundred people live in the room. There's plenty of people that watch this show on the replay after. They don't get up early enough for Boy Green Daily, which is all right. That's why it's available. It's audio-only version podcast as well. So for people that are listening in and they're hearing about Kickoff Kitchen, your first cookbook, and I'm sure it won't be your last. Chef Tim Lopez here. What do you want to tell people about this book that either we didn't get to or that you just want to reiterate?
For this book specifically, I would say you might be hesitant to explore the other food cultures of a team, especially a team that you hate. We all have teams that we don't like. I mean, local guy that I am down here, it's Dallas.
Of course.
There's some good Dallas recipes in the book, right?
Oh, okay. All right.
There's good Philly recipes in the book. There's good Houston Texans recipes in the book. Jacksonville Jaguars have some great recipes. Do not let the way you feel about another franchise limit you from tasting their food, because these flavors in these recipes and the flavors of the NFL, I think, should be experienced by everybody. And I think it's when you go outside your comfort zone, you learn a little bit something about yourself. And you may wind up trying some foods you've never thought about before. So I would just say be open-minded, stay true to your team, but taste the world of flavor that's out there, specifically in this book, because it's NFL all the way. It really is connected to those towns, those cities, and those traditions. And I think you'll get a greater understanding of what it means to be a football fan out of this type of food. The other thing I would recommend, if I could do a little game day idea, if you do cook any of these recipes,
yes,
use your dining room table as a staging area for building plates off of. Don't use it as a place to sit down at.
Okay.
Somebody asked me about that in another interview I did. I think on game day, if you're at a tailgate, obviously there's spatial concerns. It's a lot of people, but if you're at home, you can kind of set your house up to really maximize the way that you eat these foods during the game.
Yeah.
And I definitely recommend using nice, clear spaces like a dining room table to set up all these amazing foods and kind of pick off of them and eat them that way. And then that gives you a lot more space for people to move around. Everybody tends to get trapped in the kitchen during the game, trying to, get around Uncle Bob and, your friend from another friend who's over in the corner trying to open up that new case of beer.
That's right.
Give your foods room to be presented the way that they should be presented. Use your dining room table as a staging area. That's all I'm going to say.
That tracks. We'll end here. Two things here. First off, your hate for the Dallas Cowboys fits in nicely. We're doing a Week 5 Jets-Cowboys tailgate. The Jets are playing the Dallas Cowboys at MetLife Stadium, and we have 60 of our fans of this show all sitting together for the game. So we can unite in our hatred. We're both part of the spelling bee, EAGLES, ETS. Hey.
Keep it going. Hey, look, remember, guys, Dallas sucks. Their food doesn't, okay?
There you go. And that's the other place I would like to end is my Jets team reporter, Ethan Greenberg. He works for the team, and something he does on a week-to-week basis during the season is Ethan Eats. And if the Jets are playing, they start off against Pittsburgh. what he has done the last couple of years is he finds a dish from Pittsburgh, cooks it up, eats it, and that's sort of like the vibe on a week-to-week basis. I think the cool thing about this book, we have the front cover for those that are watching on YouTube here on the screen, Kickoff Kitchen. That sounds like a cool idea as we're going through this to, week 5 Dallas. I'm not going to enjoy the Cowboys for the football, but hey, the Dallas recipes. And as we're going through this thing, it could be a really cool, unique way, to your point earlier, Chef, to open up your horizons and taste some things from other cultures and other teams. That can be sort of a way to sort of work it into the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I would recommend everybody use the book that way. And then you know what the best part is then you don't get tired. You're not eating the same stuff every week. Everybody that watches football is going to have pizza or wings or something of that type of food. But you can use this book to really try some different foods. And I mean, that's what it's all about. So if you're doing that week 5 thing with Dallas, check out that Texas red chili, right? Check out those chicken fried steak bites.
All right.
One of my friends that has read those recipes, like, I'm going to make the chicken fried steak bites and dip them in the chili. And I'm like, dude, more power to you. Go for it.
Okay, there you go. Open minds for all the people out in the universe. Chef, seriously, thank you so much. Congratulations on the book. It looks terrific. I love the feel of it. I love looking at it. It looks spectacular. The pictures are great. The book is terrific. And I'm sure it's going to have a lot of great success. So enjoy all these little Eagles tailgates and different events you're doing to promote the book. That's going to be amazing. And we'd love to have you back in the future for Kickoff Kitchen 2.
Thank you. I'm looking at doing the desserts of the NFL next, so we'll keep you posted.
All right. Thanks, Chef. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too, man. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Of course. There he is, Chef Tim Lopez, joining us live here on the show. We normally have our go-to professional chef normally on the show is Chef Kevin Gilbert. He's getting a little company today on the show, and thanks everybody for all the comments throughout the interview. That was a lot of fun. So seems like you guys really enjoyed the interview with Chef Lopez. Absolutely terrific. Thank you so much to his people reaching out to make this happen. I absolutely am thrilled. So that's awesome. We will open up the phone lines. We will take your phone calls and so much more happening here on the program. A lot of great stuff in this cookbook. Again, let's give another shout out, baby. Look at this. Kickoff Kitchen. 64 game day recipes inspired by every pro football team. Tim Lopez. You get a great look at the cover there, but I'm telling you, I've got the cover. I got the book, not just the cover. I got the whole shish kebab right here, baby. Look at that. Look at that. You get the lifted logo in the middle. It's beautiful hardcover. Oh my goodness, terrific. I can't wait to dive into this. I'm not sure my own culinary skills, God bless America, but I'm going to give it my best that I absolutely can. We also have Jets training camp practice coming up here shortly, everybody. We'll take a quick timeout, and then we'll bring your phone calls next here on Boy Green Daily. Take care.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, Jets. Let's go.
Back, baby. I know a lot of people are making jokes. So, Boy Green sometimes daily. I was at Bill's training camp yesterday. Wasn't doing the live morning show. A lot of people were upset, so I apologize. But we're back, baby, and a couple of things here on the program that I want to highlight. We did a Jets-Packers bonus interview. If you're a Boy Green Coffee Club member, you had that interview available to you last night. I think that goes to the public on Friday, so enjoy all the additional content that's coming through. You guys can feel free to call into the program. That is youtube.com/BoyGreen25 to a couple of the 100 people that are watching right now. God bless, appreciate you. And man, what a conversation there with Chef Tim Lopez joining us here on the program. It was absolutely terrific. So keep your questions and comments coming. We'll get some of that JETS action happening here on the program. Feel absolutely available. I see you, Stephen Fox, with the JETS chant. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's send that to the high heavens, baby. Preseason football. Amen. We got preseason football tonight, and then, of course, the Jets will be playing the Green Bay Packers on Saturday night. The good news is that it will be nationally televised on Saturday at 8 o'clock against the Green Bay Packers. The Jets are on the road, but here are all the preseason games we got going on today. We've got Colts and Ravens. That's at 7 o'clock, NFL Network. Bengals, Eagles. Again, Chef Tim Lopez said he's going to be doing an event for that at Lincoln Financial Field. You got Raiders, Seahawks. That's late tonight at 10 o'clock. Then tomorrow we got a couple of games. Lions, Falcons, Browns, Panthers, Commanders, Patriots. Very nice. Saturday, Giants, Bills, Texans, Vikings, Cowboys, Rams, Steelers, Jaguars, Titans, Bucks, Jets, Packers, Chiefs, Cardinals, and Broncos, 49ers. And then Sunday we got a pair of games. Dolphins, Bears, Saints, Chargers. We back, baby. We are back. All right, everybody. Let's dive into the comment section here and the phone lines. Let's go. Hep joined us here on the program. What's up, Hep?
Hey, Paul. I'm in the backyard now.
Ooh, nice.
I'm trying to. Some of our trees died, and
Oh,
I'm trying to weed out the dead ones from the good ones.
Okay.
So
Okay.
gives the good ones a chance to flourish.
Okay.
Okay,
The Jets should be doing that with their roster coming up, weeding out the unnecessary coming up here. So I love the symmetry here. Yep. Very nice.
Yeah, it's a big job, but what are you gonna do? It's not too hot today.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's going on with Fields? What do you think's happening with him?
Boy, I said this before training camp, and I do mean it. I did mean it. I do mean it, and will continue to mean it. That, like, no matter what happens, positive or negative, like, guys, like, we just got to maintain the line here. We're talking about practice. However, I can understand fans being disappointed, disconcerted, insert whatever word you want to about the uneven results, right? Hearing that the passing game looks archaic, well, unfortunately, that's something we've been too familiar with for much of the last 14 years, for God's sakes, and quite frankly, even beyond that, with only one 4,000-yard passer in our history, and it was back in 1967 in a 14-game season. So to hear some of these kind of things coming up are certainly concerning. There's no question about it. What I want to see, and I don't know if Justin Fields is going to play. We should hear from Aaron Glenn today, so we'll hear what he says if the starter's going to play in the preseason. I will be curious to see if Fields gets any action during the preseason, whether it's just a drive, 2 drives, what have you. I was talking to the Green Bay Packers guy last night, Gael Molzon, and he says that it sounds like Jordan Love is fighting to play in this preseason game. So it sounds like we're going to get at least some of the Packers starters on that side. So it'd be great for the Jets to go against the Green Bay Packers starters, both defense and offense, to give them an opportunity. But again, I'm maintaining the faith on the Justin Fields saying what's going on. I try to get my laser point and go, new offense. He has a dislocated toe. And I'm trying to point to anything to explain the inconsistencies we're clearly seeing here in the passing game. And some people are like, okay, Paul, that makes sense. Others like, I don't know, Paul, it's still not looking good. So we're going back and forth.
Is he doing? We don't have the benefit of seeing it. Robbie Sable was talking, and he said it was like almost like watching Zach Wilson, but someone with Zach Wilson with legs.
Yeah, God, as compliment as that is with the legs, that's not compliment with the rest of it. Oh, boy.
I know. Well, it was, because I remember Zach just like on a swing pass, he couldn't get the guy to a swing. Remember, he couldn't throw a guy.
Oh my God.
He would throw it in the dirt, and the guy's like only like 10, 15 yards away. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like,
yeah, right. Like that. And it reached a certain point that, like, when he was completing normal passes, we said, oh my God, woohoo. And other fans are like, what are you guys cheering about? That's supposed to happen. We're like, we didn't know. So it is bizarre, the weird chapters that we've been through of like acceptability, because eventually it's going to happen. Before I kick them, there's going to be an offense that just is like moving down the field. I'm like, oh my God. This is what it's supposed to look like. Oh, the other team just scored a touchdown. Bing, boom, bam. We do 4 or 5 quick plays. Boom, we score a touchdown. Like that, there's a back and forth. That there's not just this. We score a touchdown. We're like, oh, thank God we got one today.
Yeah.
Like that should not be how we're operating here. So it is a little concerning right now. I'm not going to lie, but I just feel confident with all the pieces that are going to be here. That being able to run the ball, the RPO action of Breece Hall. Sure. What Garrett Wilson's going to be able to do, Tanner Engstrand's creativity. I just have a confidence that okay, it doesn't look good right now. Unquestionably, there's nothing I could say that will make you just go, oh, okay, thanks, Paul. Now I'm totally recovered. I totally see what you're saying. But, I just have a quiet confidence that they're going to figure it out when the season gets here. And that's what most important. People have sucked in the preseason before, and then booyah, they're great in the regular season. And we've seen the opposite, too, being the Jets a couple of years ago had an undefeated preseason, and then they won like 2 games that year. And I'm like, all right. So you never know.
Well, on the flip side, maybe it's our defense is a lot better than we realize.
Yeah, I can't remember who pushed back against that. Was that Nick Ferry or whoever? But I agree. I think the defense is going to be really good, man. So I don't want to, if Nick didn't say that, I apologize. Whoever said that recently on a Boy Green Daily, I'm like, I think that could totally be a factor. Think about all the star power. The linebackers are awesome. Sauce is great. Brandon Stevens apparently has been balling out. Quentin Williams is really good. I know he's been out with the injury, but they've got talent all over that side of the ball. Of course, that could totally be happening.
Okay. So no one spotted you out from yesterday? No one said, hey, man.
So last night, so I will tell you, I was the only one wearing green at Bill's camp. Not that I was surprised, quite frankly, but I sort of like just, surveyed the landscape and just looked. Is there any shade of green? No. So I stuck out like a sore thumb. But I ended up doing this like Boy Green Nightly last night and tried to do an episode recapping Bill's training camp. And a fan at the end of the show said, oh, Paul, I was there with my son. My son is, I guess, a Bills fan. And he saw me and he was going to go, Boy Green. And he couldn't because of wherever I was going. I think I was going in a media building or something. But that would have been funny to get one of those. But no one asked. I got a few like side-eye glances like, what the hell? What are you doing here? But they didn't know that it was Jet. So and nor did they ask. So no, I did not. I got a few side eyes, but no, I think I went undercover completely. I don't think anyone
just said like, "Oh, happy St. Patrick's Day."
Yeah, right. And then who was it? I can't remember. Badshah last night was like, "Oh, the BG on the hat that stands for Buffalo guy." Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly what it stood for. Sure. Yeah, my undercover, secret. Yeah. So,
thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Hep. Appreciate you. That was a lot of fun. Now we're about to find the answer to this question. Okay, right. So Hennessy Heisman says BG loves his chefs on the show. Apparently I do. Now there's one of two ways this is about to go. Either Chef is gonna, and you when I say Chef, you know who I'm talking about on the show. He's either gonna be like, hey man, respect for fellow chefs, like it's a community. I don't know because I'm not in that community. I will tell you that I wanted to be in that community. I don't know if I ever told this story before, but everyone knows I could have gone to the military. That looked like the path that I was going to take. But as a matter of fact, when I was a little kid, what I wanted to be was a chef, believe it or not. My mama got me the BAM apron and Emerald Lagasse, and I was always going, bam, bam, bam. I'm going to be a chef, bam, bam. And then they said, eventually they were like, you can't be a chef. You don't need anything. How can you possibly be a chef? So then that career died, and we left it to the professionals. But again, so we just had Chef Tim Lopez on the show, Super Bowl chef, amazing chef. But we have a chef that normally dominates these airwaves. How is he about to respond? Because he's waiting in the green room, and we're about to bring him on the show. And how is he about to respond? That's what I need to know. Because some people in the comment section are like, you are two-timing chef. So he could take this as a massive insult, or he'd be like, hey, man, and he could give us some behind the scenes, right? So like he as far as I know, Chef Kevin Gilbert is the best chef I know. And so he could give us the truth on what he thinks about the other chef. So you know what? This could get dangerous, but you know what? Damn it. Let's just dive into the deep end of the pool. We got 300 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. Trepidatiously. Let's bring him on the show. Chef Kevin Gilbert.
BG, what up, man? Shout out to
Chef?
the Coffee Club, man.
All
Shout
right.
out to #1 Austrian Jet fan, man.
All right,
It was good seeing you getting better and all that good stuff.
Okay, Chef.
Hey, man, just a heads up, man. Coming in to work this morning, I was like, wait, I missed a BG thing. What's going on here? I was like, this got posted a couple hours ago. I'm like,
yeah.
This guy's at nighttime now. What's
that was really weird. That was weird. Yesterday I was at Bill's training camps, and then Badshah in the Discord went like, "Hey, Boy Green Nightly," and I went, "All right, why not?" Because we did do the morning show yesterday because at training camp. So I said, "Sure," and so we did do that. Yes, but of course we had to return back to our normal phase here. But this morning you tune in, Chef, and you're like, Chef. What was going through the head? What did you think of the interview? I don't know how much you saw of it with Tim Lopez, Super Bowl chef. What was your honest take, Chef?
I heard what was that? I basically heard most of it. In the morning time when I'm doing my stuff or whatever.
Sure.
I keep my phone in the pocket, speakerphone kind of whatever thing, and listen like that. I didn't really kind of see what was going on. I didn't see anything in the chat where You mentioned two-timing me.
Yeah. Someone did say that. They did mention immediately, like, what the hell? Yeah, like, that you sort of have, exclusivity here on the show as a chef that apparently was sort of understood, and I totally broke that. So, first off, I want to do this. So Chef Tim Lopez, in this book, 64 game day recipes, 2 recipes for every team. He ended up picking, as he said, a appetizer and an entree for each of the teams. And so I need chef to chef here. I don't even know if you're allowed to do chef on chef crime. I don't know if this is going to be good or bad, but these are the pictures of his items. We're going to throw this one up first. Okay. This is the pork roll, egg and cheese sandwich. This is 1 or 2. Again, he could only pick 2 things for every team. So obviously he had to comb through a lot of stuff to ultimately land on these things. This making it, and he said you could cut this into 4s and then you toothpick it up, and that's how the appetizer would work. What do you think about this making the menu as one of the 2 items for his cookbook? Do you approve or disapprove?
Well, it looks good. I'll give him that, but he's dead wrong with calling it pork roll. Like it ain't pork roll, my guy. I don't know what you when you brought up the NYJ Matt talk or whatever, from last year with the Mike Williams. It's Taylor ham. Everybody knows it's Taylor ham. That's what was talked about, Taylor ham. You get little whispers of people, the redheaded stepchild, the middle child, whatever, saying, hey, look at me, it's pork roll. Man, no one gives a damn. Stop with that nonsense. It's Taylor ham.
Okay, so he's got to fix that. So he's got a typo here in this cookbook. It looks like he hasn't said pork roll in here, so he needs to fix that. Okay, I'll let his publisher know.
I see you want the little controversy. I could, say whatever, man. I ain't got no ties to him. Is this like your guy, your boy? You just kind of stumbled into him, some networking kind of stuff?
So really, this is it. So let's break the fourth wall here. In my radio career, what happens all the time is, I did a couple of different radio shows over my time in radio, and right now it looks like that's probably going to end. Outside of what I do with the baseball team, that it's not. I don't do a radio show right now, but when I did in the mornings and in the afternoons, people always want to get on the show. So they're media people, they're marketing people say, "Oh man, hey Paul, I know you do this show. Hey man, you want to carve out some time for this person, this person, this person, their book, their TV show, their this. They want to promote." So I still have that email because I work at the radio station doing other things. And his marketing agent people reached out to me and said, "Hey, we'd love to have him on your show." And I'm like, in my head, I immediately went, I don't know. I have my own chef on my show, but, I'm not sure how that works. I got to talk to my people and see what's going on there. But okay. And so, no, I had not known Tim Lopez outside of his agent sent me this cookbook. And they said they wanted to promote it, and it's NFL, and they said you could talk about the Jets recipes. I'm like, all right, there's enough connective tissue there. Like I'm not going to bring the plumber on the show to give me the 24/7 on the plumber, and I try to spin that into Jets talk. So this one I said, okay, there's some stuff here, but no. So Tim Lopez, when we just talked to him on the show, that's the first time I've ever talked to him in my life.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, he seems like a good guy and all that. He seems knowledgeable.
Okay, so he fucked up the breakfast sandwich.
There was one part where you could rewind it back. There was one part where he was talking about that 7-foot flat top or whatever.
Yeah,
and he was talking about making something on one side and then making pancakes and waffles on the other side.
Yeah.
You don't make waffles on a flat top. That goes in a waffle iron. But that's just I told you there's just a couple things or whatever. But the book, the concept though, that sounds cool, man. I gotta give it up to Chef for that. It's like, for me, Arizona, like what is Arizona really known for with their kind of cuisines, their food? Is it close to like some Tex-Mex stuff? Like what is Arizona like known for? That was like something I was thinking about. Minnesota as well. I've been in Minnesota in high school for a cooking competition, and there wasn't really anything that stood out food-wise where it's like, oh, you got to come to Minnesota, like Minneapolis for this. And then it's like the 2 Florida spots, and I know we got Ricky NY, Gator. We got some FL Phil, like with Tampa and Jacksonville. I don't really know what like they're known for with food, but I know in Florida, you have the Gator bites.
I see Cuban sandwiches is what he has here for the Dolphins. Cuban sandwiches.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because Cuba's south of there, and there's a lot of Cuban people in that area, and the Cuban sandwiches are lights out, man. I make a good one here. But yeah, now that makes sense. What about Arizona? I was like curious about that.
Here I have Vikings pulled up here. So Juicy Lucy sliders. Okay, so they have this. It's ground beef, American cheese, butter, yellow onions, slider buns. Yep. There's that. The other dish I had is tater tot hot dish. I've never seen this before. This is a bizarre looking menu thing, and wow, there's a lot of items in this menu. So there you go. There's whatever the hell this is. So that's there you go. That's a tater tot hot dish. Let me find the Cardinals for you, Chef. And also, while I'm doing that, one other quickie. Excuse me, I'm battling it today, apparently, is that he said that he put together this sort of, whatever you call it, this like sausage sandwich here. Yes, right. But the thing he was struggling with is whether or not he should have put cheese on it. He did, apparently, as you can see in the picture, put cheese on it, but he wasn't sure if you should. Chef, was that a no or go? Where do you stand on that?
I mean, come on, man. No cheese in the sausage and peppers. I mean, that's what it's called, sausage and peppers.
That's a good point.
I'm in North Jersey, man. Like, we a bunch of Italians out here, man. I'm inspired. Like my Italian cooking is pretty top notch. I think like the only thing maybe you can get away with is Parmesan cheese. But when you go to the spots like the San Gennaro feast in the city, like you don't see them like sprinkling cheese, like doing any of that kind of stuff. It's not melted over the top. Like even when you go to the stadium, like they don't put cheese in that stuff. So
definitely,
I get the struggle. I don't know why he went with that, because I'm sure in Philly they don't do that. Maybe suggested or whatever, but yeah, I'm sausage and peppers, man. Get me the good roll too, or whatever. Give me some sauce and call it a day.
Okay, so here are the Buccaneers, just more Florida stuff. I have the Cardinals here as well. Deviled crab croquettes or croquets. What is that
for Arizona?
No, this one's Tampa Bay. Sorry, I'm going to get to Arizona in a second. Yeah, this is deviled crab croquettes. Is that worthy of Florida? Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean,
blackened fish sandwiches
like Maryland, like that's Baltimore crabs.
Okay, all right.
But
here are the Cardinals. They're cheese crisps. There's the picture of it. Okay, cheese crisps. Okay, and this is tablespoon of olive oil. Let's see, some flour corn tortillas, 5 cups of shredded cheese or Monterey Jack, a cup of sliced roasted or fresh chili peppers, chopped fresh cilantro, diced tomatoes, and sour cream. Okay, there's an Arizona action. And here's the other Arizona dish. Sonoran hot dogs. Wow, look at that. Okay. Yeah, Sonoran hot dogs in here. Yeah, so some fancy ass action happening there. Hot dogs, bacon, salt and black pepper. Let's see, mayo. No thanks. Canned pinto beans, diced tomatoes, diced onions, pickled jalapenos, yellow mustard, ketchup, and fresh cilantro. All right, Chef. What do you make of Arizona
those
there?
Hot dogs at our tailgate.
No, I don't think so. I do not believe so.
Get scared with mayo and beans on a hot dog. We ain't got to worry about that. But hey, that's. The chef's going off of the region or whatever, so that might not be his cup of tea, his thing or whatever. But he's going off of there, inspired by whatever things out there and whatever he's heard, travels or whatever. So I got to give respect, man. I think the concept again is a good idea. You got the pictures, walk you through the steps and all that kind of stuff. So I dig it, man.
All right, Chef, let's put you on here, okay? If you were responsible for the Jet section of this cookbook and you could pick 2 items to represent this community, because that's a part that Chef Tim Lopez said was very important, is that he wanted the food culture to be represented in the book, representative, right? And you mentioned that some of them, not so sure if that represents the cities in which they were from, but if you had to pick it for the Jets, a appetizer and an entree, what would you have put in the book?
Let me get back to you next week.
Okay, I'll let you marinate.
You put me on the spot. I got
He had 12 months to prepare. Okay, yeah, please do. Okay, great.
It's a fair question. Let me come back and
all right, fair enough.
Really give it to you. But we have the Taylor ham, egg and cheese here, but we call it a twisted pretzel, where it's on like a pretzel bun.
Oh, okay.
We griddle the Taylor ham.
Oh, nice.
Melt the American cheese.
Sure.
We have the pepper jack cheese, crispy jalapenos, and bacon. So there's 2 types of breakfast meat on there, and you can get that, throughout the whole day. And it's slamming, man. It has like creaminess, with the egg and the cheese. You get the crunch too with the bacon, and then that Taylor ham, man, is just there's something about it, man. It's hard to describe it if you never had it before. It's just one of those breakfast meats where it's really good. It's not like a sausage patty where it can kind of crumble a little bit. It's really not like a ham steak. It's different, man. But it hits. It adds the right balance for the breakfast time. But if you're like late night boozing a little bit or whatever, it's a good pick me up, man.
Okay, well, beautiful. And Chef, this is your first time on the show since we've had some of these pictures and videos from the tailgate. So just a little bit of this action. Chef,
that cheese pull, man.
Oh, the cheese pull. That's what I've been telling people every time I show the video. I'm like,
I didn't even know it was going to be like that, to be real, man. I'm like, okay, all right. I think he'll like this.
Yeah, I'm telling you, 100%. And then the BG Sunday tradition. Oh, baby.
Sweet that burger is not going to be dry.
The hell to the no. Oh, baby. So, Chef, I just have to thank you for taking all these wonderful videos. And there's more that we have of pictures and videos of the tailgate we have coming up on October 5th. We're less than 2 months away, which is wild to think out loud. But so it's going to be here before you know it. So, Chef, again, our tribal chief. Only chef on this show, our tribal chief, head of the table, absolutely, bow down to his greatness. So, yeah, man, I can't wait. And thank you for sending all those in. We are so ready for the tailgate. I can see the comment section lighting up about it. Amazing.
Let's go. Let's do it. Have a good one, man.
All right. Beautiful. Chef, thank you so much, Chef, for joining us here on the show. So, wow. Chef just gave it to it. Oh, Pop wants a popcorn video. All right. I'll give you that popcorn video. All right. Here we go. Again, I've never had popcorn with bacon on it before, but damn it, I've always wanted to try it. And now you will. At the tailgate, baby. Terrific. Wow. So it's great for Chef to give us the real lowdown on the other chef. I'm going to be honest. This is not a area. Again, I wanted to be a chef when I was a kid, but then it really didn't go anywhere. So when chefs come on here, I can't really separate this from that or the other. I cannot. So it's great to have Chef Kevin Gilbert come on and tell us what he thought of Chef Tim Lopez, who joined us, Super Bowl chef from the Philadelphia Eagles, in his book. So popcorn, bacon popcorn, or bacorn, as some of you are calling it out in the chat. True. All that here. All right, let's go to the phone lines. NY Jets FL joins us. What's up, Ted?
Paul, good morning. It's been a few minutes. Been busy, right? Been busy like everybody else. But I have a food point and a Jets point.
Okay.
The food point, I have a couple suggested recipes. I know Chef Kevin has his own, but I have some Paul Green's more specific recipes. Bobby Midnight's low-hanging meatballs. Edward Ziff whiny upper deck pasta. And then the other one that I thought of real quick was the Paul Edston Sr. 1996 ribs, honoring the last time the Cowboys sniffed a Super Bowl.
Like a fine wine. Oh, what a year. Aged. Oh, aged.
Yep. 1996 ribs. But Paul, if you don't mind, Google Justin Fields' first preseason game with the Steelers, 2024.
Okay.
Look at some of the articles, titles. They were alarming.
Okay. Justin
Fields is horrendous. And this was in a game, not even a practice. Yeah. I just couldn't deal with the constant, he's a bridge quarterback. Did we make a mistake?
Here's the game.
Stuff. I just had to get away from it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, here's the
Yes,
game.
sir.
August 9th, 2024. Texans beat the Steelers 20-12. Justin Fields played 3 series in the game. He was sacked twice, fumbled 2 exchanges. Pittsburgh moved across midfield twice with Fields under center, but the drive stalled because of a fumbled snap and a sack. And Fields said after the game, we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot. I now remember this game, now hearing all those details. I remember hearing about it and talking about it from afar. Of hearing that. Yes, there was a lot of heat on Justin Fields. I remember that very well.
Yeah, so I just think I know it's camp fodder and there's nothing else to talk about. Yeah. There's no except for the injuries, but let the guy learn the offense and get these young players in the system before we can kind of see what we have. And that was my mantra before everything. Let's see what we have. We're trying to go young, trying to build obviously a culture. And if Fields is, we can get some kind of upside from him. Maybe he can be a quarterback for a while. It doesn't mean he has to be a 2-year quarterback. If they gauge that, hey, Fields really is not the guy, whether it's halfway through the season, we're going to be in quarterback watch in the first round, obviously.
Yeah. And that's, here's the thing to me, and this what gives me clarity heading into this season. I believe in Justin Fields. I think he brings something the Jets have never had at quarterback before, and I'm excited to see what unpacks. But to me, as much as I think he's the guy and he's going to take us to the playoffs, there we go. And then the story is written. If he flops miserably, I think the Jets are going to ride that train out all the way this year. And if we have a top 10 pick, then Justin Fields has no one to blame but himself, because he obviously would not have performed well enough to keep the job long term. And the Jets will be drafting a quarterback in the top 10 next year. So the power is his. The keys are in his hand. I think this is the best situation he's ever had. Jeremy Fowler seemed to disagree with me when I said that. Judy Batista seemed to agree with me when I said that. So, there's debating opinions on it. I think the keys are in his hands, and whatever happens for good, for better, for worse, is all on him. Obviously, there's a team around him. So there's I don't know, a clarity, a Zen-like state that I'm in, that I'm just, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I'm just believing in what is set up to happen.
Absolutely. Year one with a new GM and a new head coach. So let's calm down a little. And for all the people that think that Fields can't be better than Rodgers, I just think Rodgers, I hate to bring that name up, but Rodgers getting back, can hardly run. You don't know if he's going to get tackled and hurt on every play, and him trying to get the force feed balls. I mean, I think the offense could be more dynamic under Fields. I know there'll be a lot of read options and running and certain plays, but the fear of Rodgers running was limited, and that hampered our offense severely. So I think there could be more upside on our offense than with Fields and Rodgers, quite honestly, if you look at it from the bigger perspective.
I agree. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen any of these videos, right? People talk about Justin Fields, and fine. You know what? Again, is 2-10 concerning? Of course it is. I'm not like, whoa, 2-10. Just go try 1 for 11 next time. I'm not saying that. But let's look at some videos from Steelers camp. Did anyone see the drill where Aaron Rodgers, his goal was to show off his footwork going through what were supposed to be faux pass rushers? Oh my God, he had the mobility of a parked car, for God's sakes. And I'm seeing that. I'm hearing the injuries at offensive tackle, and I'm like, oh, I'm seeing Broderick Jones healthy, and when he's healthy, he looks like he's hurt, for God's sakes. He's a limping around, shot Bambi in the back leg. Like, if I'm Will McDonald and company, I'm like, oh my God, I've got an immobile quarterback that I'm going to be able to get after with this questionable offensive line that people keep talking about like it's some elite offensive line, and I don't know why, but fine. Talk about however you want to talk about, because the results are on the field. It's not we're not going to be chit-chatting on the mic. It's going to be playing out on the field. So I don't know, man. All the crap that's being talked about Fields, you know what? I'm seeing other videos from Pittsburgh, which are making me go, okay, let's line it up and see what happens.
That's all I got, Paul.
Hey, Ted, real
quick. A few minutes. Yes, sir.
Hey,
yes,
real
sir.
quick. I
Sure.
love it that you were inspired on the final day of the raffle. You're like, you know what? Fuck it. YOLO. You threw in a ticket. We have a couple of ticket packages left, Ted. It'd be great to meet you. Is there any chance?
There is a chance, Paul. I have to commit to 2 tickets, right? It's a pair, right?
No. You can commit to one. If you choose one, there's only like I'll have to double check the math, but I think we have at least 3 or 4 left. So no, if you want to go solo, you can 100% go solo. Absolutely.
Okay, because my good friend's a Cowboy fan, so I could bring him. That would be a trip. We can put him next to your dad. That'd be wild.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Let's just say this: Edward Ziff on one side and my friend on the other side. That would be wild.
God.
Let me tell you.
I'm sure my dad would love nothing more. Since I'm the one who controls where everyone sits, there'd be nothing better for that than putting those guys together.
I'll check the price. I'll check the price of the flights.
Okay, let me know,
Ted.
Do that.
Thanks,
okay,
Paul.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it as always.
Yeah, thanks, pal. Good conversation. And that's I'm going to be honest. I remember now seeing it from Ted pointing that out from the Justin Fields preseason last year, and what a great reminder of going like, guys, let's calm down here. And he showed all that in the preseason. Everyone's like, geez, look at Justin Fields can't even hand the ball off. What an idiot. And then he was 4-2 in the regular season. Should have been 5-1. Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott played insane that game, and look what happened. So I think it's a healthy, reminder as we're going through this process. And, Ted went like Aaron Rodgers, sorry to bring him up. Hey, I brought on Kyle Molzon. Again, if you're a Boy Green Coffee Club member, that's only $3, by the way, to be a Boy Green Coffee Club member. You can always join the Boy Green Coffee Club in the YouTube description down below. Again, it only costs $2.99. You guys can get our early access interview. You guys are going to have like 36 hours before the public. I did an interview with a Green Bay Packers insider from WFRV out there in Green Bay, and he had just spoken to Jordan Love before we came on to do our interview. So a lot of interesting stuff there on players we could be watching that could be cut from the Packers that we could jump all over. Again, that's always a sneaky storyline to pay attention to when two teams are battling it out in the preseason. What's sort of happening there? What are players they could pick off? A potential Packers wide receiver Jets trade. Again, some rumors about that. So we talked about that with Kyle as well. So guys, make sure you guys check that out, baby. That is terrific. And yes, anyone out there in the universe, I know there's a few people sort of floating around. There's a few people floating around that say, ooh, maybe I want to jump in on the tickets again. I think I only have 4 ticket packages left. I think it's 4. It might be 5, but I think it's 4. And if you want in, you got to reach out ASAP. I'm teasing this, and you guys are like, it'll be available tomorrow. It'll be available tomorrow. Eventually it won't. And once these ticket packages sell out, they're going to be gone. It's $300 a person. It's the Jets-Cowboys game. All those wonderful tailgate food videos I was just showing you a bit ago, or some of the food that's going to be at the tailgate that'll be coming up. I'll give you guys the rest of the full menu here. Let me pull this up. The rest of the food menu we have here on the show. Hang on tight for our tailgate extravaganza. Yeah, there you go. Here it is on our screen. Thrown up there. This is our full menu. There's a full set of sliders, full set of hot dogs. There's EZD. There is, house-made potato chips. There's toasted pretzel sticks with beer mustard. There's Pop's bacon popcorn we talked about earlier. There's going to be a garden salad. There's a chef's macaroni salad. All of those different burgers. We have spicy slider, 3-cheese slider, Woody's barbecue beer slider, my BG Sunday tradition. That's a burger, cheese, egg, and bacon all together there, which is beautiful. You have hot dog options, spicy pig, and of course, with all of the options that are available here, you guys can also choose plain if you prefer. There are plain burger and dog action if you don't want all of the hoopla on your burger. Feel free to take advantage. So again, tickets are running out, everybody. They're $300 a pop. That gives you a ticket to the game. That's section 228A. You're going to be sitting with 56 plus Jet fans, baby, which is terrific. There is the tailgate ticket, of course, to Boy Green Woody. You guys can enjoy that tailgate ticket as well, where all this food on your screen is available, and water and select alcohol. Plus, of course, as well, there is a commemorative T-shirt, which, by the way, I just put the T-shirt order in for all the T-shirts that are currently being made for our tailgate. I have one in front of me, but all the other ones are currently being produced for all you guys out there in the universe for all the shirt sizes you guys submitted. But again, get it while the getting's good, people. Time is running out. Time is of the essence. If you want to party with us, it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's going to be awesome. And there is a new development with the tailgate that just hit us. A special Jets fan in our audience is contributing a very special sauce to this event. More details to come. I can't wait to announce that as well. A new twist in the tailgate is coming. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to be back on a Boy Green Daily morning. It was fun going to training camp yesterday. We'll have more content to come. Also, if you're a Boy Green Coffee Club member, you can have access to my one-on-one interview with Elijah Moore coming off the field yesterday, former Jets wide receiver. And that was a fun little chat catching up with Elijah Moore. And we also talked to former Jets offensive lineman Dan Feeney. He's a fun guy, really fun guy. And we recapped that Bills training camp trip last night on Boy Green Nightly, coming out of the woodwork, which was a lot of fun as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Absolutely a lot of fun. Today is a Thursday, so we will have Boy Green Meets Woody coming up at 3 o'clock. Thanks, everybody, as always, for tuning in. Thank you for the support. The subscriber count jumped back up. We're about 140 subscribers away from 8,000, baby, and it's all because of you guys. Every day, the subscriber count keeps going higher and higher, so we're about 140 away. We're getting closer and closer to 8,000, which, again, of course, gets us closer and closer to that overall goal of 10,000 subscribers. So, everybody, thank you so much for the support. I want to give another shout-out to Chef Tim Lopez and for his book, Kickoff Kitchen, for joining us. Our personal chef, of course, Chef Kevin Gilbert, who's going to be our professional chef at the tailgate. Again, you guys can make sure you get those orders in on that Kickoff Kitchen book. Great concept, really cool, available for all fans, and it's a pretty sweet thing. And before we dip, I see J-Boy gifting a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. Pretty cool, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Club membership went to our boy JACK, aka Jack, baby. So shout out to J-Boy for gifting that membership here on the program. Thank you guys for your support. That is now 8 raffle tickets for our guy J-Boy here as well. And again, reminder, folks, that our raffle this month is only $3 a pop. If you spend $3 on the channel, that you have, and J-Boy, you now have 8 raffle tickets. I've updated that on the banner. You're still in 3rd place for our contest, so thank you very much. Appreciate you here on the contest. That is the scrolling ticker down below. Again, 8 raffle tickets there for you. Remember, our giveaway this month is only $3 a pop. If you spend $3 by gifting a Boy Green Coffee Club membership, which is $2.99, or super chat, super stickers, what have you, throughout the month, you'll be eligible for our massive prize package coming up as well. All right, as J-Boy says, see you at 3BG, and I'll see the rest of you at 3 o'clock for Boy Green Meets Woody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you. Take care.